They say you never bring up religion or politics because it's bound to start an argument. But these days, ideological differences quickly snowball into broken friendships, shattered relationships, and even violence. The issue seems to be worse and worse each day, and it seems like unity is becoming more and more elusive. The president, appearing on Fox and Friends 5 days ago, was asked about where do we go from here. Here's what he had to say.
How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem, and they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy.
Joining us now in studio tonight, the mayor of the city of Troy, Ethan Baker. He is a conservative, a Republican, in a nonpartisan role as his role as the mayor of the city of Troy. He worked for Ronald Reagan after Ronald Reagan, the president, left his office. And you know a thing or two about bipartisanship. Yeah. You work all the time with Democrats in the city of Troy, and you have for all of your career. Where are we when it comes to this divide? And is it worse on social media than it is in real life?
Yeah, I think it is absolutely worse on social media than it is in real life. I think that people are really at a damaged place right now in many, many ways, though, and it's bringing out the worst in everybody. And it seems like the temperature just keeps going up and up and up, and everybody feels the need to jump into that fire and fight with it, as opposed to maybe taking a step back and letting things cool down a little bit. And so I'm a little concerned about things. You know, I've had the benefit of, like you said, working with Republicans, Democrats, everybody in between. As a nonpartisan mayor, that's what we have to do. That's really an important thing. But it's about listening, Roop. If we can listen to people and recognize they're human beings first, and maybe political different types second, we might be in a better spot.
But I find it interesting because you are a Republican, even at your core, and even in your role, yes, you don't bring that up because you're a nonpartisan mayor, right. But certainly when I've seen you at ribbon cuttings, you have lunch, you rub shoulders with people who think diametrically differently than you. Yeah. How do you do it?
When you smile, you listen. It's true, though. I mean, you can disengage a lot of political anger with a smile and with a conversation. We can relate with human beings with very different political views much quicker than we can, find differences. And I think that's what we're missing so much. And I've really learned that you have to do it at the local level first. Things are going to happen in Washington. Things are going to happen in Lansing. But we're living in our cities and villages and townships, and it's incumbent on all of us leaders in those communities to lead by example. The tone at the top in our communities is what's going to help our residents feel better and do better.
You know, we talk often about the us versus them, so Democrats versus Republicans, Republicans versus Democrats. And I notice that when you govern and when you talk to people, it isn't about that. It's about us and how do we figure this out, even with the us and the them in the same room.
Sure. Well, yeah, that's right. The problems face all of us equally, right? Different times they affect more of us in different ways, but we're a community. We're a community in this country. We're a community in our cities. I mean, it is about community. And we can't lose sight of the fact that the decisions being made by our political leaders are affecting us all, and we're all on the same page. We all want America to succeed. We all want to do really well. We may not have the same means, but the ends we all want to be the same. So we just have to find a way to accept others' differences and recognize that there's really more similarities in all of us as human beings than not.
I want to bring up a really important point, though, which is the us versus them. And when you say us, in other words, whatever your political affiliation is, being able to criticize your own party, being able to say, in our leadership, we have these flaws. Yeah. There's some credibility in that, and there's some commiseration in that, isn't there?
Sure. We're all flawed, right? As human beings, and the leaders of the Republican Party certainly, throw a lot of fire and throw a lot of flames. The Democrats are doing it too. So we have to recognize that, it's not always the other guy that's the bad one. We have to look inward a little bit sometimes. One of my favorite, kind of ridiculous sayings is, sometimes take a mirror and look at it as opposed to a magnifying glass, because you're going to see the issues that are happening inside yourself as well. Again, if we can reflect on some of that a little bit as a society, we can do a better job. And as a political leader, we really have to, not just talk the talk, but we have to walk the walk. So I'm looking for leaders with a political future here who are going to actually show that they've been able to walk that walk and not just talk about it in a time when people are a little bit more concerned.
The hypocrisy is on fire on both sides because it's a lot of righteousness. Yeah. You hear people saying, well, we never do those terrible things. And then the other group says, we never do those terrible things. Again, admitting, looking in the mirror and saying, you know what? We all have flaws. We can figure out a way to get better every day, right?
That's absolutely right. And again, if we can do that, we find common ground together, we will be better. We will do better as a community. We will do better as a society. And hopefully the political violence, it calms down. It's obscene and it's wrong, whether it's Charlie Kirk getting murdered or whether it's Melissa Hortman in Minnesota getting murdered. It's awful. People are getting killed for their political beliefs and for what they say, and that's never acceptable.
It has to be condemned by everybody, and
Absolutely.
that's the first step towards that kind of unity you're talking about. Mayor Ethan Baker, the mayor of Troy, it's really great to see you. Thanks for joining us here tonight on the 10 o'clock news. Taryn, over to you.